Party people in the place be. What's good? It's your number one chief rockin' Knicks Universe, main man, Uncle Freezy, and welcome to Knicks Freestyle, the place where you come get straightforward, hardcore opinions about the team that we hold near and dear. Without further ado, let me bring in the creator, the producer, the director of Knicks Freestyle, and he is for Key. And we joined this week by a special surprise, a special and surprise guest this week. Somebody that is also doesn't have a lack of Knicks opinion. IKB Andreas in the building.
Salute. Thanks for having me.
Salute. Yo, I already know what you want to get to, Free Keith. I already know what you want to get to. I know you want to talk about the Mikal Bridges quote. I know this, bro. I know this. Yo, can you believe, chat, I'm going to say something that's going to sound crazy, right? Can you believe me and Free Keith legitimately been rocking with each other since before the Kristaps Porzingis draft?
Woo!
That's crazy, bro.
15, 16?
Since the end of the dark.
Leading up to that, yep. Leading up to
the end of the dark era.
Yep. I was getting my back kicked in on Twitter, bro. We using this thread. Me and Joe Budden was in there like, yo, how we get in here? Freaky, you remember that? We was like, yo, how we get in here? Y'all gotta let us out of here.
People was like, RIP the mentions.
Yeah. Every time I looked at my phone, the app had 20 on it. The little red 20, every time I looked at my phone, it had the little 20 plus thing on it, bro. I was like,
Cats would literally be on all day, going back and forth, arguing on Twitter. Like, that was crazy.
That was crazy. Great. And guess what I was telling them that I wanted them to draft? They was telling me, people was like, yo, that kid, what about the kid Devin Booker from Kentucky? I was like, nah, he trash, bro. I seen him play live twice. He'll never be a pro. He ain't nothing. But I tell you who I do want, though, and this is leading up to the 2015 draft. I was like, yo, that kid Emmanuel Mudiay is nice, bro.
I thought he was gonna be nice too.
I wanted Mudiay too.
I wanted Mudiay too.
It's funny how we always circle around as somebody that the fans wanted, and we eventually get them, and then it's not cracked up what we thought it would be. Now, notably, the quote
Dennis
from Mikal Bridges,
Smith Jr.
Notably, we have a quote from Mikal Bridges today, which is a guy we all wanted from a general consensus with the fans. We were expecting to get, and we didn't get, and then we circled around and got him. And look where we are now.
Right.
Within the constructs of this conversation that you're having,
bro. And I also saw Cat, but I was in love with Willie Cauley-Stein, bro. I was like, please let the Knicks.
Yo, I thought off of appearance alone, I thought Willie was about to be something. Like, like he got that Rashid about him. Like, I thought he was the hugest disappointment, man.
Bro, if it wasn't for the mental health stuff, bro, my man would have been a star in the league, right?
I think he had
footers don't move like him. He was more athletic.
But that's the thing. Fans don't realize it. Like, it's much more that professional athlete thing. Forget just basketball, dog. It's not just physical. It's not just talent. The mental part of being a pro, bro. If your mental ain't there, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap, bro.
We could probably list off mad guys who's like, they were supposed to be nice, but they couldn't get their mind right.
Yeah.
Some of it is like a culture shock because when they get to the league, they done dominated at every level before they got there, and then when they realize they're not taking to it immediately, and they're not as imposing as they were, it can be a shock. It can set back some players. Like a lot of players don't bounce back from that initial shock of just not figuring it out immediately because everywhere they go, they've been told they were great. All the scouts kiss their ass.
especially
All the guys
and
that want
so
them in their program kiss their ass, and then they get to the league. It's like, what next? Go ahead, Keith.
I think that's a lot of part of it. But I think all of the I think most players go through that. It's if you have a weak mental, you can't like then that begins to be something that becomes a problem. Like that weakness of mind, or even I'm gonna say like what's his name, Knox. From the time he came from draft day, I was like, that dude don't even look like he's really interested in being a basketball player.
Nah.
Like, bro,
Right.
his head was never really in it. Like he looked like some kid that was playing the sport because his pops made him.
Yeah, and his pops was the opposite. Like his pops legit, bro. Kevin at Florida State, bro. Kevin Knox was like the third, bro. I'll never forget this as long as I live. Miami was about to beat Florida State. This is the year they won the championship. Florida State won the championship. The Hurricanes were about to knock them off, and they couldn't get the pass game going. Somehow they was like shutting down Peter Warwick. Y'all remember Peter Warwick?
That dynamic wide
Yeah,
receiver.
him and Tamrick Van Over. Somehow Miami shut them down, bro. And it was like a 3rd down and 9. Everybody's scared to catch the ball. And Knox was the only one blocking after the whistle. He was getting flags thrown on him
Yo,
because he
that
wanted it. So
he
he
should have
wanted
stayed. He should have
huh?
stayed with football, but I think he went to I think he got pushed to the basketball route because it's really more money in basketball.
Well, not his pops. His pops ain't never had. His pops was never gonna be a great pro. He just had a heart the size of Albany. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
Hey,
yeah, he had to not. His pops had the heart the size of Queens, right? And so like this dude legit. Charlie Ward got hit. He threw a fluttering pass. It was like a duck. It looked like a Chad Pennington duck across the middle. And Kevin Knox dove in between 4 Miami Hurricanes and caught it, and they knocked his ass out, right? And he was laying on the field, like they trying to get him up, and he wouldn't let go of the football. It was like, kid, you all right? You know what he was asking them when they knocked him out. You know when he came
did
to
I
the
get the
door,
first down?
he
Did I
asked
get
them if he
did
got
I
the
get the
first
first
down,
down?
bro. Yeah, and then so and you
That's-
see that, and then you see Kevin Knox the second, and you like he might get some stuff from his mom's.
You saying he emotionally intelligent?
Yo, his pops, bro, but he probably got that from like
I don't
some.
think he had that competitive spirit. Even when he was in
Nah.
college, like
Yo,
his coach
yo,
had to
I'm
force feed him a
watching
lot.
him as a pro. I'm watching him. He looked like he'd rather be at home playing video games.
He looked
I
like he'd
mean,
rather just be rich.
he came to the
He,
draft with a Fortnite blazer on, like the
bro, like
blazer.
the dude, like some people need to stay in college like until that they're that mature self. Like it's not always just about the talent. Like some cats just not there yet.
Yeah,
Like if you look at him now, he's way more serious, and
yeah.
he's now playing a little bit better. Like I mean, I think he's got a G League. He's in the G League now, or something like that. I don't know,
He's
but
an
like,
NBA player now, but it took like what 7, 6
it.
years.
But if he had just stayed in and came out when he should have come out, he probably would be a much better pro
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
But I will say Fizdale ain't know what he's doing. Like
And
Fizdale
Fizdale
been
was
there.
not the coach. That was not the coach for you to have. But that wasn't the team that Fizdale was supposed to get. The whole thing was a shit show. Fizdale came because they knew they was getting, because Mills knew we was getting KD and Kyrie.
He was a
Fizdale was here to
connections guy.
manage. Fizdale was here to manage egos. to manage stars. That's what he came here to do. Once they saw that wasn't gonna, like, okay, that shit fell apart. He's not a developmental coach.
Right.
He was
You
there
did
for
all of
the
them young,
connections and the egos. That was
all,
it.
all of them young players got done a disservice
He
by
said he's,
being
his
under Fitz. Like,
his first
and
thing was like, I'm gonna
that's
get.
no slight to him. Every coach ain't for everybody, like, or for every situation.
His first thing was like, I'm gonna get Moutier right. I'm gonna get Mud right. I remember that. And then like his first season, he played Knox a billion minutes with no guardrails.
Yeah.
And then he picked up bad habits, and then he didn't play him at all. Like he didn't know how to balance, like managing the minutes of a young player, putting guardrails within an offense, within a structure for him. He just let him play, and then it was like, this is not working, so I'm not gonna play it. And then that's how you break a guy's confidence.
Right.
Because we didn't know why
And
he wasn't playing
Knox,
at all at that point. He just didn't play.
and they didn't do anything to develop Knox. Like, the first 2 months, he was killing. I think he got like rookie of the week or this, that, and the other. He was killing,
He
but he
was
was a one trick
December rookie of the month.
he was a one trick pony. And once cats figured him out, dog, he was literally like zero contribution for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I think his first mistake was he went to Kentucky instead of going to Duke. He was supposed to be in the greatest Duke recruiting class ever. He's supposed to be there with Marcus Bolden, Gary Trent, Wendell Carter Jr., Marvin Bagley, the Jones kid. He was supposed to go there and be there with that group, and he wanted to establish his own legacy at Kentucky, who had a whole bunch of guys that were good high school players, but you didn't know how good Hamidou Diallo was and was going to be at Kentucky. You didn't know how good Jared Vanderbilt was going to be. You didn't know how good SGA was going to be. You didn't know how good Nick Richards was going to be. You know what I'm saying? So Knox go there to a coach that's not really a coach. He a recruiter, right? He's not a great developer of talent. All you have to do is look at Cat and Devin Booker. You look at them, you like,
they wasn't
they the same
when
player.
when they went to the league, they started showing off everything that they could do, and they were like restrained. You could say even AD was dominant, but his offensive skill set, it doesn't just jump in 1 year from this very simplified, dumbed down approach where you're just attacking the rim to taking mid range jumpers as a rookie. It's never that simple. But his first mistake was going to Kentucky, because Kentucky is like a pipeline for guards and bigs.
Yeah.
If you're trying to hit the pipeline as a wing, you go to Duke.
Go to Duke
as a wing.
But he might not have played. He might not have played at Duke though.
Who was in Duke around that time?
Gary Trent. Gary Trent played 15, 3 for them that year.
Okay.
He might not have played at Duke.
And
like
he
went. I understand why he went to Kentucky. You're not looking. You don't have the benefit of hindsight. You're in the moment. I'm going to go to Kentucky so I can show out. Like, for all those players you mentioned, Freezy, that's why he didn't go to, like, that's too much to work through.
Yeah.
That's too many. That's too much. Like, I could go to Kentucky and I could shine.
Right. Right. But the thing is about, if you're a 6'8" wing, you got to go to Duke, because they have the factory in place. They take clay and put moldable clay in that machine that they got, and they turn dudes into Brandon Ingram. They turn dudes into Grant Hill. They turn dudes into RJ Barrett. They turn dudes into Jason Tatum. They turn dudes into Jabari Parker. Right? They turn dudes.
I see how you skip Zion.
Yeah, you feel me? Like, I mean, all of it, bro. But and so I have a question that I want to ask. I want to get Dre's opinion on this, but I really want to hear Free Keith hear our opinion on it, and then respond to what we have to say about the Mikal Bridges thing, right? Because and the reason I want to do it in this order is because Free Keith and I have a building conversation going all the way back to the term soft tank, right? So yeah, it's alluding to the front office. The front office, right, is impenetrable. Remember that 2 years ago? So Dre, how do you receive the news that Mikal Bridges, probably one of the quieter people on the team, coming out saying that he talked to Tibbs about minutes? Like, how does this register with you as somebody that follows the Knicks and knows that the Knicks are generally buttoned up when it comes to stuff like that?
It's about time, but it's one of those things where it once those little seeds get planted, it's only but so much time that Thibodeau has within the constructs of this team or constructs of his organization. It's it happens. It's kind of funny. It happens because he's one of the guys where he's a bona fide starter. You gave up a lot for him, so you are not getting rid of him for Tom Thibodeau. He's gonna have to make it work. There's no pivot. There's nothing else after that. Once you put your chips all the way in the middle of the table, and one of those guys like raises their finger and is like, "Nah, this is not how it's supposed to go." That guy has a lot of say in what's going to happen, and he could leverage his extension. He can leverage all types of things within this organization over him. He's not. He is not going to get moved. Not for Tom Thibodeau. If he gets moved, it's going to be for a better player. But he's not getting traded for the sake of getting traded like Grimes got traded, like Obi got traded, where we just got them dudes up out of here because they just didn't fit or they wanted to go. It's not gonna go down like that. What you think? What you think about that, Keith? Like what you think about the comments in general and the aftermath that might come from that?
Me, I tell people on the chat, like I'm a horse's mouth. I'm a horse's mouth kind of cat. Like pause. Like if something is coming from the player, I listen, and to me, it's not conjecture. This is going to be one of those few times I'm not on the opposing side of this argument of the posed argument, I should say. I think that he does hold a lot of leverage. There's something about coming out to the media and saying something like that.
He put his
That
name on it.
is,
It wasn't no
yes,
unnamed source.
yes, it is a stamp, and being that it's now out in the media from from the player, like it assures that it gets done, or now it has to be discussed or has to be thought about. Like it's you know Tibbs might have just thought it was a comment in passing. Now it's out in the media. Now it has to get discussed. Like even by them, meaning like he's got to address it. I was fine with Josh Hart and talking about like like they want to be out there playing. Cool, that's the horse's mouth. Like you know what I'm saying. Until I'm hearing a player complain, when the Tibbs players complain, y'all can't tell me nothing. This to me is now that scenario. But I say this, I think Tibbs adjusts.
I
I
think
think he adjusts. And
history says.
also though, there's a lot. I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Go ahead.
This
Go
one
ahead. Go
more
ahead. My
point.
fault.
There's a lot more in the comment too than just like what he wanted the minutes for. Like he was like, yeah, like we could rest up and be fresh, but like give these guys more minutes. Like they deserve it. Like he's more like I like how he's advocating for dudes on it. That's a good sign. Like he's advocating for these cats. Like yo, like they can do it. Like trust these guys a little more. Like they can do it. They got the goods. I like that. That actually made me feel a little bit better about like the fabric of the team. If you don't, if that makes sense.
I I agree, and there were some other interesting parts to it. He didn't just make it a minutes thing. He said schematically things have to change. Offensively, roles have to be a little bit different, and it's things that the average fan that sees it from a mile away, and it hits a little bit harder when you see the actual player within the system, within the organization, telling you like, "Yo, certain things have to be done a certain way," because it feels like, for better or worse, Tom Thibodeau, once he has a certain set of players that he likes in certain roles, if one goes down, he tries to place another player in that specific role. And we've been asking Mikal to play like Dante, and he's not Dante. He's a completely different offensive player skill set wise. And we've been like having him hitting in the corner as a spacer instead of like a guy that can do multiple things. And that's why people struggle with how Tibbs views things or how our ceiling could be viewed, because he puts guys in a box. And granted, a box can raise your floor because it gives you an expected level of production. But within that, you don't get the stuff that's Herculean or above and beyond that when you have a guy in a box and is told to do one specific thing. Like, I remember I seen Mikal in the last game. He went downhill seeking contact, like looking for a layup. He didn't get
And
the
see,
call, but I don't think that was
without
incentivized to him or told to him explicitly, like, "Yo, you need to do this, this, and this." And you only see those things after injury, unfortunately. Go ahead, Keith.
yeah, nah, you spitting, you spitting. This last game, I first let me backtrack. I feel like, unfortunately, but fortunately, I feel like this time without Brunson is a necessary evil. And more of the players right now can play how they're best supposed to play. And you're seeing it out of Mikal. Like, he's doing stuff that, like, you wish that he was doing night in and night out, but he can't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that space is occupied. I got a different role in this setup. And so you're right. Like, it's showing, and I'm hoping that this is what is sinking into Tibbs. I hope he's learning as much as they are and seeing, and actually Brunson too. Like, I hope they're all like taking in what's going on right now and how the team is about to be playing. And when he comes back, it's more of a like a addition to that instead
It's
of
an
a return
acclamation.
to,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's it's and it's kind of odd the way he said it, because usually when you hear a player comment about things, it's usually after a loss. It's usually a guy asking to play more, but it's the complete reverse. So to me, it's not coming from a negative space in my mind. McHale just probably
no, no,
doing it like, I feel like we can get to X, Y, and Z, and I express that. And this is one thing that we've noticed that's been a theme under Tom Thibodeau. When we have a game off and we have a practice, you see new things, slight new tweaks and things added to the structure of our offense. You might see a new play, and you notice. I think he only said those things probably because he addressed that with his before it even happened, like in the practice, and then we came out and performed at a high level offensively, and that stems down to multiple players. Like he said explicitly, like you said Deuce can do more. You know what Deuce is capable of, and he said Shamit. He was advocating for guys because they have a resume that's shown like they played at a certain level. And he's also said explicitly, like, it ain't that Tom Thibodeau hates playing these guys. He just be locked in and focused on one thing, and he prioritized. He doesn't look at the overarching concept of the team. He just tries to win minute by minute. And in that process of trying to win every minute, you get blinded to the peripherals, like the other stuff that can help you win in the long term. Like it, and it's maybe it's a wake up call, and I'm pretty sure anything he said in this like column or whatever, he definitely told Tom Thibodeau, so it ain't gonna blindside him, and they're probably gonna ask him questions
yeah,
after the game, and Tom Thibodeau's just
Let
gonna
me
tiptoe
let
around
me let me interject. Let me interject something here, because I don't. I'm not gonna be the devil's advocate, because the devil don't need an advocate, right? The devil does fine on his own, right? I will say this though. My belief from being around human beings is that they have been telling Tibbs this for a few weeks, and it went on deaf ears, right? And then so they like, yo, if he won't listen to us, maybe we got to, you know what I'm saying, put this thing out here so that he can get questioned about it. Because this is not a new thing for Tom Thibodeau. This is something going all the way back to the Sixers when they had Dwayne Washington and Johnny Dogs. All them. Tim's like, hey man, nah, we got to practice defense for 3 hours, bro. Practice.
But they say the
defense
practices,
for
but
three
they say the
hours.
practices aren't as rigorous though.
No. I'm talking about back then. I'm not talking about now.
Mm,
I'm talking about the
mm.
narrative of this thing following Tom Thibodeau. 3 hour after Jack Lyman does a team practice, Tibbs wanted to practice defense for 3 hours. And so you like, and Barkley and them is like, nah, bro, I got to get out of here. This dude crazy. Well, you want us to practice and then practice defense for 3 hours in the same day? Are you crazy? And then play? Are you nuts? And so I think that's one of the things that Chicago Bulls fans have been telling me for years, right? This is what Tibbs is, and he gonna do this, right? The two Minnesota Timberwolves fans I know, they like, this is what Tibbs is, and he gonna do this. And now Knicks fans, in year 5 of this, are like, you know what? After 5 years of this, man, it's about time somebody stepped up and said something. Because it's been 5 years of this, and not saying he's a bad coach,
Yeah,
but
yeah, dude,
but
that might be his
postseason
Achilles heel.
postseason success is more important than regular season success. And if you wringing them dry in the regular season, they're not gonna have legs for the postseason.
Yeah,
Well,
and
look,
it's kind of like
I
a balance too, because a lot of the teams you're gonna go against, they're gonna start playing their main guys 40 minutes, and they ain't used to those rigors. But like you got to have a healthy balance. We already had these guys playing 40 something minutes. You can scale it back now. They already got the callus on their body. They ready for it. They ready for war. They ready for those 40-minute playoff wars. You can scale it back now and try to see what you can get out of your role players because you're gonna need them in those 8 minutes that you might see them in the playoffs. You need them ready. You need them all the way ready because you can win and lose games in 8 minute stretches just off bench play. But go ahead, Keith.
and if they better than ready, they actually can give more assistance and more rest during the playoffs to the
Right,
guys you need to be on the court.
right.
But yeah, me personally, again, I call this shenanigans until I hear it from a player. Now we've heard it from a player, and in the form and fashion that he did it, I agree with Freezy. It's probably been discussed already, and nothing really like has been taken hold, and that's the only reason why it came out like it did to that like at that time.
I agree, and he said it super candidly too. Like when the way you read it, it felt like it was something like long overdue. Like he was thinking about this for a long time, but he felt like it wasn't his place to do that just yet. But after 6 games, he's like, bro, you got to
Right.
switch it up a little bit.
But then after 60 plus games of you running through
The most screens
150 screens a night, you know what I'm saying?
he said he literally was playing the most minutes in the league and running through the most screens in the last 10 years. Been tracking. At some point, like he's trying to save his career. Like if you notice when he's playing, he can't be aggressive the whole game. He got to make
Nah.
a business decision. He gonna run into the ground trying to fight
Yeah.
over screens, attacking these smaller guards that want to run him through 60, literally 60 to 70 screens a night.
I
Sometimes they
mentioned
set a
that on the
screen and then
pod.
try to run them through another screen right after that. It's just like, bro. And at that point, like, what do you have Deuce for?
Yeah.
What do you have these other guys on your roster for? You don't got to utilize him for that job the entire time. And if you
Nah.
notice, even recently, we've seen OG been more on ball recently. So it's probably been aired. If you notice, coming down the stretch of games, you didn't
Which
seen
is
OG.
wild because this handle is very shishky.
Yeah, but we've seen OG guarding a guy that's like, remember Tyler Hero coming down, trying to close the game. Early in the season, they would have asked Mikal to check Tyler Hero in that scenario, regardless of context.
Yeah.
So it's probably been aired like, yo, you don't gotta use me. You don't gotta hit the Mikal Bridges button for everything.
Yeah.
Like that's part of being a coach. You got
You
other
see
guys
Josh
change
Hart
guys
be
on
more
certain
aggressive defensively. Josh Hart's not a defender, but you see Josh Hart in that role at
chasing
times,
guys on
maybe once or twice
screens.
a game, like giving Bridges a break. You know
And
what
it's
I'm
more
saying?
recently, more recently. It's
Yeah,
been, I
recently
think,
is what
more
I'm
recently.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's chasing dudes off the screens, particularly in a Miami game. Like he was
Yeah.
chasing, running dudes off the screens. And before we would play this more safer approach, but and asked McCall to be the aggressor. But at some point, you can't be the aggressor that much after 60 plus games with no games off, none. He ain't missed nothing, even with the nicks and dings that you get over the season. He ain't missed a game, and
Yeah.
he's playing 37 minutes. Like sometimes he's legitimately making business decisions, and the things you ask him to do, and then you try to turn around and ask him to get 20 without really making any concessions for him offensively.
Yeah.
We don't throw that man no bones, man. We might throw
Right.
him like one curl, like a curl, and he'll come around hit a mid range shot. But other than that, we ain't feeding him. And like we want to think like your offense doesn't really lean into defense. But if guys are not feeling included on offense, it definitely bleeds psychologically to a lot of guys defensively. Why am I running through a brick wall? Like even when we had even Mitchell Robinson had to fight through those hurdles of just never really having anything for him and him having to be this elite defender, and he would complain about it too, even under Tom Thibodeau. So you got to throw these guys a bone every now and then for them to feel like they're involved. That's what you get paid for. Like as a coach that's making $10 million, you're responsible for literally managing personalities, egos, on top of the schematics. And because Tom Thibodeau is a control freak, he has no one else on that roster helping him out with that. We had Johnny Bryant actually hands on with the players before. I don't know who's really hands on with the players now. Don't nobody really be talking to the players like you would. And if you go to a game before, you see Johnny Bryant pull aside Randall or JB on the bench, even with an iPad in his hand, like, yo, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. When they go to the bench, Tom Thibodeau don't even be looking at the players, let alone talk to them during the game.
Right.
But that's never been his thing. I'm not gonna hold that
It's
against
not
him.
his
Like
thing, but it's
that's
not his
that's
thing,
that's that's
but you need a coaching staff for that, and he don't even we don't even have a coaching staff for that particular stuff. Like your
I
coaching
got
staff is
you.
supposed to
I got
supplement what your blind spots are, and it feels like we keep adding guys that make it an echo chamber. That's why you see a lot of stagnancy in what we do structurally and schematically. You see the same thing over and over because ain't nobody really challenging him. When we had Johnny Bryant damn near made Julius Randle on his own. He made Julius Randle change his game 3 different times. He was a ball dominant player.
you. He took that spin move out his repertoire.
That was Johnny Bryant move, and Randall said it himself. It was Johnny Bryant. Johnny Bryant told God on him like 1 year, we want you to shoot a ton of threes,
Yeah.
get 6, 7, 8 of them up. So he did it. That was Johnny Bryant. And then the next year he became more of like a slasher, and he definitely attributed to
And
Johnny
see,
Bryant.
but Dre, to your point though, the year he told Randall to get up more shots, you when Randall came back into that season, you saw the svelte Randall.
Yeah,
You saw the 6'8", 245 Randall,
yeah.
right? Like Randall legit
Changed
was
his
so
body.
put together. Like Randall looked like that dude that we all aspire to be. Now I know Free Keith don't work out or nothing, so he don't understand this part of the conversation right here. But for the workout warriors, for the ones that watch what we eat, man, and do the 3 miles a day and try to, you know what I'm saying?
Run up the stairs like
Yeah,
Rocky.
yeah. Yo, like 6'8", 245 and shredded. It's hard to get that way to look 245 and skinny, bro. It's hard to do that. Hey, Free Keith, am I lying? Am I lying, bro?
That's facts. That's
Bro,
facts.
you have to
Yeah.
change everything. So to Dre's point,
But
Johnny Bryant tell that man something early. Randall commit his entire offseason to it and come back and do what Johnny Bryant asked him to do.
Yeah. Whereas
It's hard, man.
I've
6'9",
heard other
245.
players. I've heard players like Jeff Teague be like, if you do what Tips asks of you on defense, you could just do whatever you want on offense.
Yeah,
So he doesn't necessarily have, and it feels like the guard, like we have that read and react, and the game tells you what to do. Sometimes the game don't tell the players what to do. That's what you're out there to help them do. And if you notice, the last game against the Kings, we had a lot more set plays and design plays,
yeah,
especially out of timeouts. Like it was like a concerted effort. Like yes, there's going to be the thing that makes basketball beautiful is that there is a flow, there's a natural flow, and players play off of one another. But when you're missing like a guy that can make all those things work together without you even thinking about it in terms of read and react, you gotta implement more structure when you don't have a traditional ball handler on the court. And
And
I think
that's
that's
where
what
you
we did a
see the
little bit
ball
more.
flying around. You getting season high assists. You getting all of that. Like, see what Tibbs. I think what we don't understand too is like Tibbs lets guys play the basketball. Now Brunson being the leader of the team, I feel like a lot of that play is dictated by him. And
I
so
think
who
it's dictated by him because the coach is going to allow it. Like you implement a read and react offense, a scoring first guard is going to read score most of the time.
Right.
So
and
unless
that's
you
it.
incentivize or implement guardrails to be like, yo, hey, get this guy going, do this X, Y, and Z, you're only gonna get what a guy is gonna have natural inclinations to do.
Yeah. And read and react, to me, read and react offensively is a coach focusing on something else. It's like when Rex Ryan say we're gonna run the ball and play defense. What he really mean is we're gonna play defense and figure out a way to score just enough to beat the other team.
It's ground and
Right?
pound.
Read and react means take what the defense give you. That's what the coach is telling you. Like when I hear read and react,
Yeah.
in my mind, that means if I get it, shoot it.
Instead of dictating the terms offensively.
Instead of being aggressive
Yeah.
and putting the defense on their heels. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear the game will tell you what to do, if the game is telling me what to do, then what I need a coach for? If the
But see,
game is
I feel
involved,
like the devil is in those details. Now,
Right.
imagine me being a baker giving away my whole recipe. Like I'm sure that there's much more to it. Like now I'm going through with each player what these scenarios look like. Because now if I'm doing that, then yes, I am properly training reading and reaction.
right?
This is how you react to this. This is how this. I don't know if all of that is going on. I'm assuming that's also coming with it.
Yeah.
So it's not just blanketly like, yeah, read and react, but like the reaction and the read are based on things that are, oh, you know what I'm saying, like specific scenarios and like as many as possible. And
Our
yeah,
offensive philosophy is reactive instead of proactive. And a lot of things that Tom Thibodeau does is reactive instead of proactive. Instead of making the assessment beforehand, he's like tippy toeing, trying to feel out what the opponent is doing, and then I'll make. No, man, you talented enough to make the other team play on your terms, and we don't do that enough. Like we try to
but it
outdo
seems
what
like
other
we
teams
play
do.
we play games we play games differently depending on if we come out shooting, out hitting from the beginning, or if we have a slow start.
But
Right.
if we have a slow play, but
Those are
I got,
always those are always our two different games for us.
but it's like the shot profile is different. Like when you say that, and I don't think we have the consistency where instead of dictating the terms and playing whatever we deem as our identity, we try to form into what the other team wants us to do. That's what I meant, like in terms of being proactive and reactive. It's just like we trying to feel out other teams, and then we okay if we beat them because they dictated a certain style, and we still talented enough to beat them. Imagine if we implemented a specific style that we honed in on, and
Right.
then you take it to them. Instead, we're just like tippy toeing. Like when we go against these elite teams, we come out the gate tippy toeing, taking tough shots that they're telling us to take. Like they're dictating, yo, Brunson's gonna have to kill us tonight. Brunson's gonna have to score 70 on mid-range jumpers,
Hey, let
and we
me
just
ask
let
this.
that happen.
What about the other thing? What about the other thing Mikal Bridges mentioned about roles, right? And about some things schematically may have to change. What do you think? So I'm gonna ask Dre first. Freaky, I'm gonna ask Dre first, and then I'd like for you to get your answer too, because I want to preface it and then have Dre respond to it, and then get your take on it. So you mentioned that he mentioned some things may have to change schematically, right? Now, when I hear that, I'm I'm thinking I'm questioning myself because of course I'm not there. I'm not privy to a lot of things. All I go by is what I see on game day, right? But when he says change things schematically, in my mind, I'm thinking he's thinking about scrapping some things and adding other things at the same time, keeping a structure of what they've already been doing and trying to find that sweet spot. Dre, is that what you think he's saying, or do you think he's saying, "Hey, man, we need to get rid of this old, outdated defense and play head up, man to man"?
Um, I think there are certain things that we do well within the confines of what Tom Thibodeau likes. Because by no means are we a poorly coached basketball team. I just think sometimes we get too stuck to playing one specific style of play. We have no real pivots. Like it's cool to have our specific style of play be the quote unquote main thing, but you got to be able to have a different means to do things. Like, and as far as like the offense, besides maybe one or two games, I don't think we've ever like outright featured Mikal Bridges. And for a guy of his skill set, he's averaged like 25 points per game for like 3 straight months.
Yeah, yeah.
To not to see guys like Max Struess on another team run pick and roll more often than Mikal Bridges, at to me that screams like, yo, this is
To
a
see
miss.
Cam Thomas from the Brooklyn Nets get point guard minutes.
Yeah, it's like mismanagement of the talent. Like you got to conform to what your talent is. And when I look around the league, when I was watching the Cavs, I was like, their roster was too, I want to say, redundant because they had two small guards and two bigs that played at the same time. But
Right.
when Kenny Atkinson came in there, he was like, okay, number one, everyone's gonna have a green light from behind the arc. I don't care if you miss them. Open if it's open, let it fly. He empowered um, Evan Mobley to be more aggressive with the ball in his hands. And with that you see the bloom, you see the growth within them. And even with empowering those guys, he's had a means to try different lineups that aren't out of his norm. Like he's gone to small ball lineups where he's had Donovan on the court and he's had Garland on the court and he's had those two small guards out there with three other wings. Mind you, they're paying like what $60 million between their two bigs, and they
Mhm.
still find a means to have a different way to play because every you need to have answers. You need to continuously have answers because every little stretch that you don't maximize is a chance that you could be losing. And we try to focus in on hone in on just one particular style of play, and sometimes that'll get you in trouble. You'll have Precious out there. I said this before. You'll have Precious out there, right? If OG is out for a game, he'll tell, "Hey, Precious, you be OG tonight." And that's just unfair to his skill set. He's just not that type of player. You'll have that man in the corner as a spacing option, and teams are just going to ignore him instead of just conforming to what you have. He kind of like tries to plug in, it's like square peg in the round hole over and over and over.
Right.
And sometimes you develop a lot of habits in terms of discipline and structure, but then sometimes you develop bad habits that get you in trouble. Like why is Precious not in the dunker spot? He's not a threat at the 3 point line. He might as well just be down there
So
without moving.
what do you think about that, Freaky? What do you think about that? Do you think it's um Mikal Bridges wants slight tweaks to what's already in place? Do you think he wants to scrap the defense that gets him smashed up against a wall 20 times a game? Or is he talking about he doesn't get to showcase his offense with Cat and Brunson on the floor?
I feel like I feel like when I hear him say schematically, I think it works in with the guys the guys on the second unit getting more time. Like have to be willing to change the scheme up a little bit to allow for that.
Okay.
So I guess it's tweaking what's already there
Okay. So
is
so
what
why
I
so
hear.
why so why is he asking for
Because
tweaking?
I think if he thought if I think if he really meant that, oh, like the whole thing needs to be like resorted out and this, that, and the other, I don't think he would have said that publicly if that's what he meant.
Okay. Okay. Yes, one of these things, man, about the quotes itself, and I'm glad you mentioned it in that way because I was leaning. You know how the needle on the meter be all the way to the left or all the way to the right, and so when you mentioned it, I was all the way to the left on it. But then when you mentioned that, you
I
mentioned
don't
it
think
as like,
if he meant it like that, because that's a whole different statement.
that's a
That's a
whole
whole different
different.
thought wave. I don't think he would have. I don't think that he would have. I, I don't think that he would have said it to the
Right.
media like that.
Right. Right. And so yeah, the reason why I ask is because I was the needle all the way in the red, thinking that there may be drama behind the scenes, right? But if you're mentioning it like that,
If
it may be more of a, hey man, we've been trying to tell this dude, man, we love him and we love the team, we love the organization, we love this group of guys, but we're not going to be able to make it to the playoffs if we keep pedal to the metal.
If you
I don't
like,
think that there were, if it was super like if that was coming from a super negative place, like or that direction of place, I don't think he would have said that to the media. Just like not him, not him. I don't
Okay.
think he would have did that.
I think it's one of those
So
things where like
that's the filter that I interpret it through.
I think it's one of those things where we coming down the stretch of the regular season, and OG Ananobi been playing like 40 minutes since he came back from injury. You kind of need to dial that down. Like you need to wrap that up a little bit. You don't need to have him playing crazy like that. 40 minutes every night down the stretch coming down this regular season. Like when you look around the league, you canvass a lot of the other teams, they be giving guys nights off. Like the Celtics then took like 4 or 5 guys out they lineup just to give them a blow, give them a break. And we don't. I mean,
Pause.
it's part of our yeah. It's one of those things like we don't necessarily do that over here because it's a culture thing. But their end game is winning the championship, and they're not gonna get there with pieces of guys with nagging injuries. Like sometimes you need to give a night off, and you're not gonna get that out of Mikal because of his streak. But if you don't want to do that, then you like lighten his load in the midst of the game. You don't ask him to be the point of attack guy all night for 40 minutes. Some nights you want to ask him to play 32 minutes, and you take a night off. You can be the focal point of the offense. Deuce is out here for that reason, and we don't have to play him. And it's one of those things. It's like a modern concept because I think Tom Thibodeau doesn't believe in how teams lighten the load on players. I don't think I don't think he's one of
I,
those types of guys.
I think Tibbs, like all of your great coaches, has a philosophy, and they're beholden to that philosophy. And now I think some of those philosophies may be more current or more like what you would say fits into modern style. And then there's those old school philosophies. They work, but they ugly, and we're gonna complain about them all the way through. And to me, like that's the coach. That's where Tibbs is.
He
That's the lane he exists in.
and it's not, it's kind of unfair to expect like a 67-year-old guy to just be like that's been relatively successful to be like,
I
why would
actually
I change what? Why would I completely change what my program is? It's got me this far. It's got me paid millions of dollars to coach.
But you know what? I'm gonna say even with that, I've seen Tibbs do un-Tibbs like things. Like dog, like he was playing these cats thought that IQ and Obi would never play.
But
Cats thought
here's the
that
thing.
IQ and Obi would never play.
Here's the thing. He was so stuck against playing them within how his ideal of the game worked. He was starting Alec Burks even while we were eliminated, where there's no beneficial, like there's nothing beneficial to starting Alec Burks. He was still starting him over quick, which made no sense.
That's the Tibbs being Tibbs part. That's a Tibbs,
So like
but just
his
actually having them dudes in the roster,
I mean,
I'm
just having
telling
him
you,
playing is his compromise, but sometimes you gotta go a little bit further than
you
that.
know,
Tibbs is
the
a very,
Reed, the
very good
Reed
coach,
got a brand.
but he's not a great coach.
He may, I think he's a great coach. And see where I disagree with the good versus great because I think he's a great coach and good coaches don't win multiple year the coach of the year awards. Like you know what I'm saying, like what he does gets results. He goes to every team he goes to the playoffs. It's when he gets there. They come from the they they come from the lottery and they go to the playoffs. He literally took the same team that Fizz and Miller had from the lottery, added D Rose, and we're in the playoffs.
He's a floor
Same
raiser.
team.
He's a floor raiser, but even in a microcosm of him having a floor, I think the year after that we had more talent. He just didn't necessarily know what to do with it because he had this belief of balance, and we just didn't have the defensive balance, but we had offensive potential.
Let me
We
ask
never
y'all
leaned
this.
into that.
Let me ask y'all this. How long are y'all willing to wait for another Knicks player to co-sign what Mikal Bridges said to validate what he said?
I don't need another
Nobody,
person to vote. I don't need
nobody.
another.
Yeah,
I take it right there, right there.
No,
dog,
no. I
dude.
don't mean no. I don't mean that. What he's. I'm not saying that he's lying.
Oh,
What I'm saying is, how long are you willing to wait for another Knicks team, another Knicks player to come out and support Mikal Bridges?
What
hmm.
we gonna do? What are we
Well,
gonna do?
well, they're gonna ask him. You know that our beat is messy.
Yeah, they're gonna ask.
They're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
ask,
what
so
I'm saying.
we gonna know an answer probably by tonight.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is what I'm saying. That's why I know, like him putting it out. What you call it was not malicious. Like dog, it's to get results. Like, and the results are gonna happen. Like the questions are gonna come. The thoughts is gonna be in the air. It's gonna like. I think we'll see. I think we'll see it happen.
Can I give you my take on it? You mind listening to a drama queen for like 30, a
Or
drama
maybe we
king?
don't.
You mind listening to a drama king for like 30 seconds?
Drama king.
Yo,
Okay.
I honestly think if Knicks players don't come out and support Mikal Bridges, then there's a rift. And what I mean by support, you don't have to come out and agree with Bridges. You can come out and say something like,
Bless you.
"Wow, that was news to me, man. I wish he would have, you know, what I'm saying, came and talked to me about it. You know, what I'm saying that's my guy. You know, we support him and all that stuff. And even though I don't agree with him, you know, that's my dog right there. You know, what I'm saying. So if he said if they do something like that, I'm with it. But if nobody says anything, then he on the island.
Well, they can't ask Brunson because he's already back in New York. You know, Brunson is man, so
I
they
mean,
probably
but
gonna
like,
ask
yo,
Josh Hart.
the social medias is the social medias. Like, we got. I kind of lightweight agree with Freezy. Like, we got to see now, like, what the players' responses are. You know what I'm saying? Like to that statement. If it's made a big deal of, which I'm assuming it's about to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I I can agree. I think it's just one of those things you're gonna have to wait and see. But if I had to ask anything, I think the vibes on the team are great. I don't think I
I,
think they'll probably support him. That man got a handshake with everybody on the damn team. So
and this is why I'm saying I don't think like it was the whole statement, the what you call. I don't think it was malicious, and I don't think it was like
it was just candid.
angry intent. It
It
was
was
just
so
candid.
candid,
Like,
and it's just not something that we normally see from the Knicks because we're so buttoned up and
Yeah.
tight-lipped about everything. Because normally it would be like unnamed source said X, Y, and Z, unnamed player,
And
unnamed
Bridges
person in
historically is
organization.
not a boat rocker. Like Josh Hart is a boat rocker, right? He gonna say
yeah,
something. He
yeah,
he'll say
yeah,
something crazy, even if he'll like legit. Josh Hart will diss the fans, in a low weight kind of way. Like, see what I mean? We all played 42 minutes tonight, and we ain't even tired. Minutes, police. Like he's like,
Ironically, after that, ironically after that, he started having knee issues.
you're right. Yeah, you feel me? Yeah, you feel me? Like Josh Hart would do something like that where you're like, yo, we don't ever take Josh serious, right? But the fact that Mikal Bridges or like Mikal Bridges and OG Ananobi don't even talk to the media like that. Even when they talk, they don't say nothing. Like it's it's feathers when they speak, it's feathers. And so in my mind, I think it's Mikal Bridges is sticking up for guys that need more minutes. All of them. They
that's
probably
how. That's really the crux of what I see. I think that is the like. I think from his standpoint, that is what he was getting to. Like it had nothing to do so much with the tiredness, even though he mentioned like, yeah, guys will be fresher, blah 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 blah. But I think that the material point of the statement was like, yo, give my dudes more time. They deserve it. They got it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what? You know what Mikal Bridges has that Tom Thibodeau doesn't have? A championship run where he was a factor. Like Tibbs has never been to the finals as a head coach. Mikal Bridges went to the finals as a player. So he knows what it takes to get to an NBA finals in his current role. Does Tom Thibodeau know how to get to the finals in his current role? Nobody's perfect.
Hmm. Interesting.
No, and
Yeah,
and if it,
no one's perfect, right? Because Tibbs may know how to get there, but he may not have the ingredients to get there. So no one's perfect, right? But I could see conversations on the bus, Landry Shamit, Cameron Payne sitting next to Bridges, like, yo, we don't know how many minutes we gonna play from one night to the next. One night we play 15, one night we play five. And I can see how that's frustrating for veterans.
And individually, these guys know how nice each other are. Like they know how nice cats are. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think it's a him vouching and like advocating for his dudes. That's really what I took from that. Like, or
yeah,
the main core of that point.
like these, a lot of the guys they've had have had more integral parts on teams that went further than any team Tom Thibodeau has coached. So why would he not lean on them? Especially when they did like Campaign was the backup point guard on the team that went to the finals.
Yep,
Like Landry Shamet was playing minutes on that team,
yep.
real minutes. So Mikal, we all know was a starter on that team. It was he. As a matter of fact, when he was a starter on that team, he wasn't the main point of attack guy every single second. That's why, like schematically, those teams won 60 plus six, like 65, 66 games or 64 games, I believe. Like at some point, you got to figure out, like, yo, you got to utilize what's in your tool shed, and that's what people are like on Tibbs was like, if you if you gave him the tools, are we sure he's even going to use it? We gave him Carl Towns, and 60 games, we still haven't seen a true five out lineup for any real duration of minutes. And when I
Nah,
say
we
true
get
Cause we
five
nah
out,
cause
we
we don't have cause we don't have a true 5 out team, bro. Like
no, 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 no,
that's
no, no,
that.
no, no, no. We have multiple guys you can insert to make a five out lineup. You don't even try. Like literally just inserting, literally just putting in Deuce McBride for Josh Hart creates a five out lineup, and we don't even try.
yeah,
We don't even.
we give it's basically we run the football out of a four wide receiver set. That's what it looks like when I see it. Right?
It's
Like we legit put four wide receivers on the field so that we can run a halfback draw up the middle. That's what our offense is. Because Tibbs wants to run the football. He just wants us to think that we're going to be wide open, right? And so when we come out, they get in star formation. Y'all know what star formation is. I ain't got to explain
yeah.
star formation to everybody. Everybody know basketball. We come out and we get in star formation where everybody is spread out and is at least between 15 and 20 feet apart, right? We show that look, right? And then the first thing we do is let Jalen Brunson dribble for 8 seconds. Cat come up and set the screen, and now it's just like Brunson and Randall and Dante all over again.
Yeah, except this
Except
time. Except this
Cat
time,
is not Cat is not like the playmaker that Randall is, so it really doesn't come off that same way.
e-
Like
except this, and to that point, except this time, teams are guarding Josh Hart with a center. So even if you try to get to the lane, which the whole point of a 5-out offense is to get layups and threes. That's the whole point. And once you have Josh Hart on the court, if teams decide to put a center on him, that lane is gone. Then you're asking Brunson to score in a phone booth, and you're asking Cat to score over two guys. Because if he beats one guy, that help is coming, no matter what. That help is usually another 7-footer that was attached to Josh. The whole point is like, yo, if Josh Hart just makes shots, Josh Hart literally attempting shots, not even making them, just attempting them, literally made us like pushing up on historic levels offensively. And then him not being aggressive offensively, it literally zaps away whatever idea of a 5-out is. When we talk about 5-out and you look across the league and you see the Celtics out there, they have five guys you have to respect at the 2 point. You are not putting a center on Drew Holiday. You are not putting a center on
Nope.
Derek White. You are not putting a center on Tatum. You're not putting a center on Jalen
yo,
Brown.
yo, man, wait till my man Mitch get off his minutes restriction,
I
yo.
think
Wait
Mitch
till
is
my man
yeah.
Mitch. Wait till my man Mitch. Man, yo,
He
yo,
said, legitimately, that man
wait,
said 5 out, and this man got into a Mitchell Robinson conversation
wait
by
till
himself.
wait till my man. We are not. Look, we're not a 5-out team. Period. That's
No,
it.
no, 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 no,
Period.
no, no. You know, you
Period.
don't have to be a 5-out team to try it because you need to have that within your arsenal. Like for instance, we get down big in the game. You don't get back into games without 3-point shots. You just don't. You don't. It just like that alone is a reason to have a 5-out lineup because that is the equalizer. That is what brings teams back.
I,
When you see the Celtics,
and I don't think most fans understand what the 5 out offense is. Right? It's like the buzz phrase of the year this season. It's the buzz phrase,
It is.
but 5 out is not even 5 out is a personnel grouping. It's not an offense,
yes,
right? 5 out is
Is
a
it?
personnel grouping. That means 5 out means you have five guys on the floor that can dribble, pass, and shoot, and that are willing to dribble, pass, and shoot at all times. That's your 5 out set, right? There's a 1-4 set, right? Where you have one big on the floor that plays like a traditional big, right? You could do that in a 1-4 flat. You could do the 1-4 motion. There's a 2-3 set, right? The traditional set. Oakley and Pat Ewan, the 2-3 set where you have two or three guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot, but you have basically two bigs, right? And you have the triangle, the triple post, where basically you have at any given time three people that are going to post up on a spot on the floor any given time with two guys constantly in motion trying to get open for open looks. And so when we talk about the 5 out set, when Dre said it, like when Josh Hart is on the floor, sometimes it's 5 out and sometimes it's not because it depends on if Josh Hart is going to dribble, pass, and should be a willing passer, dribbler, shooter. On the nights that he wants to be Josh Chamberlain, we can't get into a 5 out set, right? We just can't. It's just what it is.
he
I
could
like that. I like that. Josh
half the time
Chamberlain. I
he
like
be
that.
Freezy, he be playing like he Bo Outlaw half the time.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Like he just scared to look at the rim, scared to pass the ball off, scared to dribble. Like at some
Right.
point, And when he's assertive and aggressive, it's we're just a load to handle. Like he is Josh Hart is our floor and our ceiling at the same time in
Yep.
one man.
Yep.
He's our
Wow,
floor and
that's
our
a
ceiling in one man.
that's an interesting point.
And that's why I'm like so hard on him.
I got
That's why
mulled
I'm
out
so.
1-0.
It's like that's why I'm so like hard on him because it's like, bro, if he's aggressive, there's literally nothing you can do to stop our offense. Nothing.
Right.
But
Right.
when he's not,
When Josh Hart is shooting the ball, nobody in the NBA can stay in front of Karl Anthony Towns. The other day, we saw Cat beat a small forward off the dribble. Right. When there were driving lanes. Right. When Josh is shooting the ball, now you can't just push up on Cat and Hart and Bridges because now you're giving Jalen Brunson carte blanche to just carve up a defender all night.
yeah.
Right? And
But
then when you press up on them, OG and Anobi in these 45 cuts, you're not going to be able to body OG and Anobi at 6'7", 240. You're not going to physically stop him from getting to where he wants to be because he's bigger, stronger, and just as athletic as anybody that you're going to have on your roster. Yeah, man. So, hey, Free Keith,
yeah.
in this last couple of minutes, you got anything that you want to say to the fine people before we wrap up?
Yo, we need a guy like PJ Tucker. It's a shame that he's, to me, probably going to be unusable on the court, but this team is too nice. It's too much buddy buddy. We all friends. It's not. We need a dude in the locker room that's going to pull cats up, and I think that he kind of represents that. And I hope that 10-day gets converted to something longer. But like, yo, I don't think fans really realize how much we need a guy like that in this locker room.
Okay. Hey, thank you everybody for coming through and watching Nick's Freestyle. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, comment in the comment section below. Um, for IKBM Dre and you know what I'm saying, yours truly, Uncle Freezy. We here rocking with Free Keith. We want to thank y'all for coming out. Tune in next week, Wednesday, 7:30, same place, same time. We are out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.